Am I wrong for telling my sister that my wife isn't spoiled? Her husband just doesn't like her? Throw away fake names. I, 34 male, am married to the love of my life, Michelle, 31 female, and have been with her for 13 years, married for 11. My wife is chronically ill, and as soon as it was financially feasible, I suggested she quit her job and stay at home. Since then, I've become quite successful in my career, and I've encouraged her to get out of the house to pursue the hobbies we didn't have money for and that she didn't have time or energy for. We are incredibly happy with the direction our life is going, and Michelle's mental and physical health has never been better. We split the household chores in accordance of how Michelle is feeling. On her good days, she usually do just about everything that needs done before I'm even home. But on those occasions where her illness is acting up, it all falls on me. I honestly do not mind. There isn't a whole lot for us to do on a day-to-day basis besides laundry, dishes, cooking, and tending to the dogs. We have a housekeeper who comes once a week and does most of the major stuff. I enjoy cooking and typically only have maybe an hour's of worth of stuff on the day she can do anything. I also generally just like to spoil her. I bring her home gifts and trinkets. I encourage financially support her hobbies. I take her on 2 weekly dates, vacations. I like seeing her happy. My sister, Karen, cannot wrap her head around this concept. Her husband, Bill, works in the same industry as me, making similar money. However, Bill does not treat Karen as I treat Michelle. Bill won't let Karen be a stay-at-home wife. She frequently mentions how he rarely takes her on dates or brings her home flowers or gifts, how he isn't generous with his money, and how it should be their money. Despite this, she always criticizes my wife for being spoiled. Anytime I mention my wife and what she happens to be up to that day, example, in a cooking class, golfing, painting, my sister gets huffy and makes comments about how lucky my wife must consider herself and how surprised she is that my wife stays busy. If I mention ever having to do a single bit of housework, Karen talks about how selfish Michelle is for not doing her part and how cooking breakfast was the least my wife could do. If I tell my mother about the emerald earrings I bought Michelle the spa day I sent her on, or the new recipe I was making for her tomorrow, Karen would make comments about how our relationship isn't equal and that I'm being taken advantage of. Recently, at a family dinner that neither Bill nor my wife were attending, I casually mentioned to my mom how after dinner I needed to run a load of laundry so I'd have clean pants for work the next day. My wife was having a bad flare-up and had been pretty much confined to the couch. My sister scoffed loudly and said, "If she wasn't so spoiled, you wouldn't be coming home to a bunch of chores." I responded with, "My wife isn't spoiled. Your husband just doesn't like you," and asked her why she's forced to work if her husband makes as much as me. She was pissed. My parents were irritated, and I was asked to leave the dinner. My sister has sent me texts calling me names, and my mother has reached out saying that was insensitive and asked me to apologize. Am I wrong? One thing about me is I hate family members who are jealous of other people other family members for no reason. Because he didn't say that his wife is a lazy slob who doesn't do a single thing. He said that my wife doesn't work because she has a chronic illness and because he loves her and actually cares about her well-being. He said, "Oh, she can just stay at home." And he said that the days where she's feeling good, she does do all the chores before I even come home. But the days where she's feeling sick, I do the chores for us. What's so hard to understand about that? It's not like this lady's not doing a single thing around the house. It's not like that she's not sick. She literally has a chronic illness. And because he cares and loves his wife, he wants his wife to be doing good and to actually live and breathe. Like, she's just jealous. That's what I would have said that to her. Like, you're just jealous that your man does not like you, girl. Shut up and leave me the hell alone. Top comment, not the a-hole. It's lovely to see a couple that manages chronic illness so well. She doesn't slack off on her good days, and you accept that she's not slacking off when she has bad days. The fact that you two just like making each other happy is delightful to see. Your sister is absolutely jealous and wants to prove your marriage is the weird one, so she doesn't have to feel bad about hers. Exactly. She is trying to make it seem like you being good to your wife is some odd thing because she's not getting the same treatment that she wants to get you. Like, I hate jealous people. Jealousy is a real-life disease. Am I wrong for threatening to call the police against my mother-in-law after she took my kids without permission? I, 34 female, have always had a tough relationship with my mother-in-law, 60 female. She's been pushing us to send our kids, 7 female, and 10 male to her house more often ever since her divorce. But my husband, 37 male, and I are uncomfortable with it. She has a lot of boyfriends coming and going. And while that's her business, I don't want my kids around strangers. My son even mentioned once that he didn't feel comfortable around one of her boyfriends, and that was enough for me to draw a line. My husband agreed, so we stuck to the rule. If she wants to see the kids, she can either come to our place or we can meet somewhere else. She doesn't like this and has complained plenty, but we've been firm about it. This weekend, though, things blew up. She offered to watch the kids while my husband and I ran errands, which we thought was her way of trying to make peace. She came over and everything seemed fine when we left, but when we got home, she and the kids were gone. I called her immediately and she casually told me they were at her house. She said the kids missed her and were going to stay the night. I was furious. This was not what we agreed to. My husband tried to calm me down, saying it was fine and that we could relax for the evening. I reminded him why we don't send the kids to her house, especially with her boyfriend around. My husband called her to ask if he was there, and she swore he wasn't, but I didn't trust her. We drove to her place, and guess what? Her boyfriend's car was parked outside. We knocked on the door and told her we decided we wanted to have dinner with the kids instead. We were polite to avoid making a scene, but she went off. She accused us of judging her for having a boyfriend and trying to control her life. I snapped and told her if she ever took my kids without permission again, I'd call the police. She started crying and yelling, and we left with the kids. Now, my husband says he agrees with me that what she did was wrong, but he thinks I didn't need to yell or threaten her. I don't feel bad about it, though. She crossed a major line, and I feel like I had to stand my ground. Am I the a-hole? First of all, it's never a good idea, whether it's your mommy, your daddy, your pappy, or your granny, or the neighbor, for your children to be in a house where there's literal strange men coming in and out. And that's not even to shame anyone. And an adult is grown. Like, they can protect themselves, but a small child cannot protect themselves. Am I wrong for telling my ex I don't care if her daughter is crying about being left behind when my son's with me? I, 27 mil, was with my ex for 4.5 years. So 4.5 years? And we had our son 6 together. We broke up when he was 2 after I learned she cheated on me, and the baby she was carrying may not be mine. When her daughter was born, we did a DNA test for both kids. My son was mine, which I feel like I knew anyway, but it was also confirmed her daughter was not mine. She doesn't know who her daughter's father is, and I was asked by her parents, and her sister to raise her as mine anyway, so the kids would be brought up the same. I said no. Like, why would they even ask that? What? We weren't married, so it wasn't like I was an assumed father, which made it easier for me just to get 50% custody of my son and focus on being a dad to him. Things between us aren't good, and I don't play a role in her daughter's life. Exchanges are done quickly, and I don't engage when she tries to get me to interact with her daughter and ask me to consider including her. I have sent emails to keep documented proof that I am staying civil, but don't want her daughter in my care, and communicating this with her mostly is not too bad. But lately, she has been upping her efforts to get me in her daughter's life and to get me to take her daughter as my own. She even confronted me in public space and told me her daughter cries when her brother leaves and that she wants to run up and hug me, but since she knows I won't be okay with it, she keeps her daughter away. But it kills her. She said her little girl didn't choose this, and she knows she effed up, but she cries so much over me, and I can't see her as our son's sister and love her as my daughter for his sake, if not for hers. I told her I don't care. I did not make her daughter, and I will not be responsible for raising her daughter. I told her to put the work into fighting her daughter's father and leave me alone. Her sister DM'd me on social media and asked how I could be a dad and so heartless about an innocent kid. Then her friend did the same with a bit more of strongly worded DM that accused of me being misogynistic and saying I wouldn't act like this if she had another son, which isn't true at all, but she sure as hell acted like that was a thing. Anyways, am I the a-hole? I feel so bad for kids in these types of situations because children are so innocent. Whether they're your kids or not, at the end of the day, like a child, until they become a grown adult, it's going to be so innocent. They can't do anything about, you can't choose who your father is going to be. You can't choose who your mom is going to be, how your parents treat you, how others treat you, how others see you. It's just such a sad thing. Like, that's why I'm so against people like fornication, people committing, like, having affairs, sleeping around, like, because at the end of the day, your 5-minute gratification can result into the sadness of a innocent child. She's saying she doesn't know who the father is. Even if she did know the father, why would a random man want this child? Like, please, let's keep our legs closed. And that goes for both man and woman. And please, like, people just sleep and have, you know what, just for the sake of it. Like, they never think how this can affect the kids that they're bringing into this world. And granted, like, some people do not mean to bring. And that's even worse. Like, having a child that you did not expect to have, all because you witnessed some nicky time. Very sad. And honestly, he's not responsible for her. Like, that's not his daughter. What does he have to do with her? He can be nice, obviously. You know, it's good to have manners and be nice to the innocent child. At the end of the day, because the child didn't do anything to you. And he can be, like, a bit nice to her. And because that is his son's other sibling. But he doesn't have to be responsible for her little feelings. What?